Welcome back to Get Down to Business, the show all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. Some fantastic conversations so far with Jennifer Amder-Spitz and, of course, Johnny Immerman. But now I am thrilled to be joined by Kory Angelin, who is the author of a brand new book, Sell Out, How a Great Experience Can Help You Sell Out of Your Product. Thank you so much for joining me on the air.
Absolutely. I'm very excited to be with you.
Absolutely. So you are an award-winning fitness professional and two-time published author. Tell us a little bit about the story behind the book and how you had that aha moment and that discovery that now, of course, you're looking to teach others about.
Great question. So, ultimately, I believe that just in general, we all sell too much, right? And it doesn't really matter what industry you're in. I happen to grow up in the fitness industry and had a lot of success there. And what I learned is really a really good trainer is probably one of the best salespeople in any industry, because ultimately we're tasked with selling a vision, right? In other words, if you go to buy a watch, you could put the watch on, you could feel the watch, you could see the watch, but it's really what we're trying to do is, sell a dream or a vision that we're able to do with it. You can't really see it. So what I had to do was learn through trial and error, how to be successful at sales. And really for me, as I go around to different stores, in the mall, for example, and you hit those kiosks, you really learn that people sell too much. And I believe that if you just build a customer relationship, build that rapport, you'll be a lot more successful in sales in general.
Sure. So, Kory, you have certainly shared a lot of advice, and of course, we're going to make sure we direct our listeners to the book because we don't want to share it all now. But I'm curious to get into some of the tactics. How do you ask a potential customer the right questions that make them feel comfortable and not pushed? How do you develop that relationship that you just talked about?
Yeah, perfect. That's really the key. And here's the secret, right? I learned that in order to make a great customer experience, you have to ask great questions. But here's what great questions can do. It can do three different things. One, you could ask a great question that can plant a seed. So, for example, let's just use a fitness example for this point. I would say something, instead of saying like, hey, are you interested in buying personal training? Because the first thing you would think of then is, well, how much does that cost? Mm-hmm. And that's not something you want to interject in the middle of a conversation. But planting a seed still gets you to the same point without actually mentioning personal training. So I might say, well, listen, if you had a program that you were able to use and reach your goals, is that something you would be excited about? Now, that's a very different question, because really the question was, would you be excited about it? So, one, a great question could plant the seed. So you got to figure out what you sell and then learn how to plant the seed. The second thing it can do, a great question, is overcome an objection. For example, a common objection in any industry would be the customer saying, I want to think about it. Well, a truly great question would sound something like this. So listen, other than yesterday, when would you really want to start driving this new car you're looking for? And typically the answer is going to be today, right? So again, kind of gets you over that hump of someone saying, I want to think about it. And then thirdly, the last thing you want to do in any sales situation is activate the emotional part of their customer's brain. And it's simply by asking them, how would you feel if you had that new watch on today? How would you feel if you were able to have that fitness program today? And really, a feeling question does that. So if you could ask one or all three of those types of questions, you're going to be a lot more successful.
That's great advice.
In getting a sale. I'm so pumped up already. I want to sell something.
I know. I could tell. Wow. Sunday night, you're ready for a great week, and hopefully you're getting our listeners ready for that as well. Great advice. And why are the worst words a salesperson can hear are just looking?
Yeah, so the funny part is, right, I always tell people when I'm giving a speaking engagement, which is the first thing, going to any store in the mall, first thing a salesperson asks you when they walk up to you is what? What do you think they ask you?
I'm sure, trying to pitch the product or something like that?
Yeah, or like, how can I help you today?
Right, of course.
And 99.9% of us, including myself, we reply with, I'm just looking.
Sure.
And the reason why we do that is because we don't want to be sold. And we feel like a salesperson is just, they don't even know your name. They don't know what you're looking for. Just how can I help you? And we automatically spit back, I'm just looking. But if we really spend some time not thinking about anything having to do with what you're selling and really just try to engage a person, for me, very often that comes down to a compliment, right? So I walked into a Foot Locker many years ago. The first thing the guy did when he came up to me, the guy that worked there, was say, "Hey, nice sneakers you have on." And he actually knew the make and the model of the Nikes I was wearing. So instead of saying, "Hey, how can I help you today?" it was simply a compliment. And what a compliment does right off the bat is just disarm you a little bit, right? You're a little bit more open-minded to talk to the person. So that's sort of one of the great tricks to do as a salesperson is forget about what you're selling for a second and try to connect with that customer. And at the end, of course, you're going to talk about what you're selling and how much it costs, but it doesn't have to be with right out of the gate with what you're leading with.
Well, very, very impressive tips. Kory Angelin, you are an award-winning fitness professional, 2-time published author. You've written the book, Sell Out, How a Great Experience Can Help You Sell Out of Your Product. Kory, real quick, how can people learn more?
Sure, just go to KoryAngelin.com, KoryAngelin.com, and be amazed by all of my great specific tactics for how to be better in whatever industry.
I'm already amazed. Kory Angelin, thanks so much for joining us. We'll be on with Dr. Fred Jacobs in just a moment. Chicago, don't touch that dial. Listen, get down to business.